Well, folks, I guess I'm going to make a different video than I planned to make. My planned video was going to it's going to illustrate how, and this is after I talked to somebody who'd been in the silver stacking community for a while, had told me basically that you have to really watch out when you buy a roll of older, say, constitutional silver, like these quarters. You have to really watch out for the wear, because 40 worn coins aren't going to weigh nearly as much as 40 fairly, newer coins. So to test this hypothesis here, I had been kind of buying. I buy a lot on eBay, like most of you do, I'm sure. But I basically had been, all this time, I've been stacking probably since the 1st of 2019 in earnest. Had a little bit of stuff before then. I was in the jewelry business for a long time, and I had some stuff left over from when I shut my store down. So anyway, but in earnest, I've really been stacking silver since the 1st of the year. And all this time I've been going by the advice, don't pay too much for, for older constitutional silver because of the wear factor. So I was going to make a video to demonstrate that, just for the, for my friends and folks that I talk to. And, as many of you are probably, I've got friends I would like to see sort of hedge their monetary positions with precious metals. And my personal goal for precious metals is I want in silver. I've got a little gold. I've got a few ounces of gold. But the last time I saw gold make a run, I saw silver make a run at a far higher percentage and there was far more velocity with it. And when I look at the modern prices of gold and silver, I see nearly a 90-to-1 ratio between silver and gold, and that's just historically, that's really out of whack. That shouldn't be. So either gold has to come way down, or silver has to go way up. And I just don't see gold going way down in the environment we're in. So that leaves silver, which we all know is being manipulated by JP Morgan and others, probably some central banks as well. I think that when that game is over, that while we're watching these big banks stack silver, by the way, we should be stacking it also. So I make this video for friends and family, as well as just perfect strangers out there in the YouTube world. And my video today was going to be on the topic of, worn silver coins. And so I said, okay, and I actually went so far as to make a video. Well, the video I showed basically was, well, I'm gonna show you the difference in these are identical containers, okay? Both made by H.E. Harris. I like these containers because I can see through them, and I can, you can see the sides of the coins. And if you're selling them, you can also show, hey, there's no half or 90% copper in here. Nothing. There's no lines or anything. No copper to speak of. So anyway, when someone looks at these things, they really can see what they have. And so anyway, but these are identical tubes. Tubes weigh exactly the same amount. And anyway, what I noticed was on the side was on this tube of 1964 only quarters, that the quarters came all the way almost to the very top. Hardly any lip there on the container over the top of the quarters. Whereas on this other container of mixed dates that range from the 1930s on up to the 60s, it looks like you could stick another couple of quarters in there to get to the top like this other one was. And so I'm saying, well, there's got to be a dramatic difference in weight, given that a quarter is about 6.25 grams. So with that being said, if you're buying a roll of these versus a roll of these, aren't you getting shorted, 1.5, 2 quarters? Well, that was my assumption. Strangely enough, though, when I actually went to weigh these things, and I can't explain this, but I'm going to do it right here in front of you so you can see. Now, I'm going to change this. This is not a great scale. This is just a little, it's just a little postal scale. It's kind of cheap, but it's fairly accurate to a gram. And sometimes if it goes to like 1.5 grams, it'll show 2. So sometimes it rounds up. It'll round up to the nearest gram, or it'll round down to the nearest gram. But it's pretty close. I've tested it against some of my old jewelry scales that are legal for trade and are really good scales. This one, it's when you're doing a whole bunch of something, it's okay. It gets pretty close. But anyway, I've weighed these quarters, and I'm going to do it again here. Get this down to grams. Get us to the grams, and I'm going to zero it here. And I'm going to make a few little piles right here in front of you. I'm going to record the amount of these piles. And let's see here, we got, and I have already counted these multiple times, so I know we've got 40 of them. But 40 of these quarters from 1964, 248 grams. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to see it now. But that's showing 248 grams. Okay, fair enough. We'll put these back in the tube, and we will weigh our other tube of quarters, which look to be a quarter or two short insofar as the volume of them. Okay. This is, looks like, there's enough wear in this other lot of quarters to basically say that we've probably lost a quarter or two just in weight from just the things wearing off. Like, let's see if I can find, most of these are not just terrible wear. Most of them, for the most part, they've got most of their relief and everything, but you can tell they've been carried. This 44's got quite a bit of wear. If you'll notice, the ring around the edge here is pretty well gone. The lip around the edge that it's supposed to have is gone. You can see the one behind it, it still has most of it. But there's just a few. I mean, there's a 64, and it's in as good a shape as the other ones in that tube over there. But it's got a little bit of everything in this tube. Like I said, from the 30s on up to the 60s. For the most part, I'm not seeing a huge amount of wear, but now there's one right there, it might be. This one might be this one's a 1932. So I probably need to check that actually. But anyway, it's 32. It's one of the oldest ones in the tube, obviously, and it's got significant wear. Okay, so assuming that this thing is 6.25 grams new, what would you say that the weight of it is now? I don't know. Is it still even going to register 6 grams? Let's just see. It's showing 6 grams. Strangely enough, it's showing 6 grams. And I don't know. Let me zero that thing again, because I'm not sure about that. But showing 6 grams. I don't understand how it can have that much wear and still register most of its weight. But anyway, we're just gonna weigh the entire lot of them, good, bad, and ugly, and we're gonna see what these things weigh in comparison to the other stack, which was, 1964, which among, circulated currency is the newest quarter you can get, outside of proofs and stuff like that. But anyway. So 64 is, if you can get a bunch of them, you're going to have pretty much the newest ones that you can find for the most part. Let's see. 246 grams. Now, I told you the other lot was 248 grams. We have lost, with all the wear on some of these coins, with the fact that when you stack it up next to other stack, it's almost the width of 2 quarters less, volume-wise. It's 2 grams or less difference in the weight. Now, that's not what I was expecting to find when I did this little experiment. But I got to thinking, and I think that the biggest reason that they don't stack as high is not so much because of you know, the fact that they may be missing the edges a little bit, or maybe, you know, George Washington maybe lost his ear, maybe, or maybe the Eagles lost his eyes, and, you know, maybe some relief. I think where a lot of the wear occurs is on these lips around the edge of the coin, these raised areas. If you'll notice on a newer coin, you've got a very distinct lip right here. Let's see if I can get it a little more in focus. But you've got this lip, and it's very distinct. You can see it. Whereas on these very, very worn ones, you don't see nearly as much of a lip. And I think the vast majority of the height, when you stack these things, comes from those lips, because they are a very elevated piece right on the edge of the coin, and they just tend to give the coin more height. Now we're talking about tenths of millimeters here, but over the course of 40 coins in a tube, it can amount to a fairly, you know, wide little piece there. And so that being said, if that piece is worn down, apparently it just doesn't take a huge amount of weight off the coin itself. So either this was just by accident, or it was an ingenious design element in the coin. I don't know. But I think that I'm not going to be paying a higher premium for 1964 quarters from a weight perspective. I'm not going to worry about it so much, because if we're talking a gram or two, that's less than the weight of, you know, that's like a third of the weight of 1 quarter. And, you know, across 40 quarters, it's just not that much. You're talking probably less than $1 in a tube of quarters that in 2019 prices might cost $120. You know, that tube right there might be $115, $120 right now on eBay. So, you know, 80 cents, $1.20, something like that difference. I'm not seeing it. I don't see paying, worrying or hand-wringing over, even though it's a dramatic look. It's a dramatic amount of volume difference. It just when you really put it on the scale and the rubber meets the road, it's just not that much difference in the weight. Now I can't say the difference wouldn't be more dramatic if you had a whole tube full of slicks, but just when you have a mixed date lot like this, you're going to get a little everything. But I just don't see the weight being that much less than this other one. And, you know, to hear my friend that was talking to me about this, and I'm going to have to go back to him and say, hey, you know, I did an experiment and you were kind of wrong that it made that big of a difference, because it didn't. It just didn't make much of a difference at all. But anyway, on Constitutional Silver, I guess I guess the result of my experiment is don't worry about it so much. It's just not that big a deal. It's a couple of grams, and I just about knocked it over on the floor here. But it's a couple of grams difference in a tube, and just not enough to worry about. Anyway, you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching. And comment below. Let me know what you think. It's this interesting topic for nerds like myself who get fascinated with this kind of thing. But let me know what you think, and be as polite as you can be to each other and to me, and I'll be polite back. You guys have a great day. Thanks.